Yo, well done, good people. Uh, Today is the sixth day of November 2025. I'd like to welcome you back to Project Walking on Water, my channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and share with other people if you are into this sort of content. I always say that I'm not limited to specific topics. I'll discuss anything and everything. But at the moment, I'm mostly focused on talking about the people in the diaspora who want to move back to their home countries. Zimbabweans in particular, because in Delengana way I'm a Zimbabwean myself, and I'm on that journey of really badly wanting to move back to Zimbabwe, like many, and I know there are many who are like me who would really like to move their life back to Zimbabwe. Some already have, are doing quite well. Some are facing multiple challenges. But anyway, today I just want to share my 2 cents on a couple of things, right? First thing I want to share my 2 cents on is the whole immigration thing, the whole going to the diaspora thing. Initially, when you are in Zim and you grow up in Zim until working age, the primary reason most people immigrate in the 21st century from anywhere to any other place is either escaping violence or simply looking for better opportunities, like Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans, the primary reason we leave our country, Zimbabwe, is to go look for better opportunities because the economy in Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwean economy is tough. There is no work. The economy is not functional. That sort of things. That we leave primarily to go seek for better opportunities. That's why the first point of contact when the floodgates was open is South Africa. And many Zimbabweans in South Africa was simply because the South African economy functions way better than the Zimbabwean economy. So on that note, I just want people to keep in mind what was the primary reason that drove you to leave Zimbabwe and go to the diaspora. It was to seek better opportunities. In other words, to seek financial stability. Yeah. Then I heard someone yesterday actually here on YouTube saying kuti there is a myth inotendedzwa nemaZimbabweans yekuti kana une imwe mari easy kuita. That's true. Money is never easy to make, and money is not easy to make, but when you have capital or when you have other money, it's much simpler to make more money. It's not easy. There's a difference there. It's not easy, but it's simple. If you have capital, it's much simpler for you to be able to make more money. And ndakuadresa my attitudes, our general attitude as Zimbabweans when it comes to money, right? And you'll find that I'm going to discuss money a lot on my channel because money, like this is, it's sort of like the base of this whole thing. It's the foundation of this whole thing. we are running away from Zimbabwe, we want money, toda mari. Tauya diaspora, mari yachona you find with sometimes mari yachona iripo zvayo, but mari yachona kazhinji kachona for most people mari yachona noya yakapera kudhara. You are just basically working for survival. And so yeah, I'm going to discuss money a lot. I'm passionate about money because why is this thing called money always in the way of our lives? And so I will be discussing, and there are other older videos as well that I recorded that are on my channel discussing this thing about money. But tiri panyaya yemari iyoyo, maZimbabweans in general, attitude yedu when it comes to money, we are not knowledgeable, for a lack of better expression. We are not knowledgeable much about money. Even vanenge vachinzi vakaenda university to study things that focus on this thing so-called money, my accountants chaivo vanenge vari finance and all that sort of stuff, some are not actually knowledgeable about this thing called money. Vanenge book knowledge, of which what I have come to find, this is what I have come to find personally, is sometimes book knowledge is not actually practical. It's not what's practical. It's not what's on the ground. And book knowledge, and I don't know if I should call it street knowledge or whatever, but like you find book knowledge sometimes is not actual practical knowledge. Yeah. And especially maZimbabweans, tineka attitude katinako, this attitude of treating everything as if it's a competition and each man for himself type of mindset. That in itself is a major contributor to the failure of the Zimbabwean economy. And we can blame the government as much as we want for the failure of the Zimbabwean economy. And I'm not saying Kuti, they are not at fault. They are to a very huge degree to blame for the failure of the Zimbabwean economy. But at the same time, and I think I've said this in previous videos, Kuti, what the actual economy is, the actual economy is you, Zimbabwean people, the people of a nation state or whatever. You are the economy. The decisions you make day in, day out, that's essentially what is called the economy. Yeah? Saka attitude yatinayo Zimbabweans when it comes to money is mostly a sort of competitive attitude or mindset towards life in general. Like, I don't understand why to treat a life in a competition, and this attitude of each man to himself, each person for themselves. I don't know why that is a prevailing attitude in Zimbabweans. That's why you find kuti mascenarios akaita sekuti munhu akawana mukoto wake waanenge achiita, madhiri ake anenge achiita, they are very stingy with information, just basic information. So how do you go about this sort of thing? People have developed an attitude of wanting to benefit out of nothing as well. Kuti pese pekuti pamwe pachona panenge pasingambodiwe kuti mucomplicate zvinhu, munhu anenge ada kungocomplicate zvinhu chete just for their own personal gain. And I don't really blame anyone for this, because situations inenge yakaita ndo inogona kupa vanhu ma incentives ekuti vaite and behave in that sort of way. Yeah. But as I am addressing people who want to shift from, say, the diaspora to go back to Zimbabwe, I want to address this attitude, this selfishness attitude, this each one to themselves attitude, and everything is a competition. Nothing. Life is not a competition. Life is not a competition. I don't know why Zimbabweans that attitude. You could treat your life as if it's a competition. Yeah, life is not a competition, and each to themselves will never work. Like you're not gonna but you can't exist in a vacuum. Yeah, you can't exist in a vacuum, especially if you want to see success. If you want to see success in real success, one way so successful and one even in Zimbabwe vachona corruption never say. And they don't do it by themselves. I think what strength in numbers is simply what I'm trying to say. Strength in numbers, cooperation and coordination, mobilizing and strategizing, plotting and planning. This is what will yield results. Saga, as a community of people, my diasporans who move back to Zimbabwe. Yoga just focusing on yourself, as if you exist in a vacuum. Yeah, you are probably going to face a lot of challenges in that journey of moving back to Zimbabwe or to wherever home is. And I really want to urge people to educate themselves when it comes to money in general. Like, educate yourself, know how money works, know, because I see Chandaona, like a recurring theme that I've seen so far is people will go, I've been working and I've managed to save, say, this much money, and I managed to save this much money. Better say, this is a recurring theme. I'm tired of the diaspora. I have saved. Some will come on social media with even very large amounts of money. Yeah, some people are very good at saving, and they'll tell you, I've saved however many dollars, and I'm really tired of the diaspora. I want to move back. What am I going to do? What you are going to do before you spend a single dollar is educate yourself. Educate yourself about anything that you are going to spend that money on. Do not. But there is a motto that I picked up from one of sort of my mentors. Do not invest in things that you know nothing of. Actually, this was from a book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Do not invest in things that you know nothing about. You've got money, hard-earned money, and you want to invest it in something. You want to put this money to work for you. Don't put it in things that you are not knowledgeable about. And this brings me to my next point. My next point is, with the number of Zimbabweans, I'm going to address Zimbabwe specifically. Like I said, I'm a Zimbabwean child. With the number of Zimbabweans who are in the diaspora who are either in the process of wanting to move back to Zimbabwe or are willing to move back to Zimbabwe, there are so many of them. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I am part of several groups on social media. I follow several individuals on social media who have got a huge following, indicating that there is a lot of Zimbabweans who are either in the process of moving back to Zimbabwe or who are willing to move back to Zimbabwe, who want to move back to Zimbabwe. Yeah, there is several groups on Facebook. There's one called Diasporans Building in Zimbabwe. This is Diasporans Building in Zimbabwe. The name of this group indicates to me that these are people who are already in the process of building something back at home. There is 18,000 people in that group, yeah? And then there is another one called Let's Build Our Home in Zimbabwe. Obviously, some of these numbers will not be all people in the diaspora or whatever, but there is 746,000 people in that group. Yeah, and then there is one group, this one is my favorite group on Facebook, called Coming Home Zimbabwe. I want to thank, I think her name is Sandra Kayegera or something, who created this group. This is where I see people come with a lot of questions and a lot of inquiries on the whole journey of moving back to Zimbabwe. And this is another thing I want to address as well. This group has got 64,000 participants in it, yeah? Showing that there is 64,000 people who are in the diaspora willing to move back to Zimbabwe, who were in the diaspora and have already moved to Zimbabwe, or who are in the process of moving back to Zimbabwe from the diaspora. And the other point that I want to raise is, especially in this group called Coming Home Zimbabwe, people who come in anonymously, people who post anonymously. And this brings me back to that point I was mentioning before of strength in numbers, cooperation, coordination. Each man to himself aishandi. Each man to himself aishandi. Nyika dzamuri kubva kwadziri hadzina kusvika padzakasvika because they were doing each man for himself, because it doesn't work. Imagine a country like the UK or Canada or the United States vanhu voadopta attitude yedu semaZimbabweans. I'm not trying to fault Zimbabweans or anything, but iwewe uri muZimbabwean unoziva, you understand exactly what I mean by the general attitude and mindset of Zimbabweans. And it might not be your specific mindset, because it's obviously not mine. That's why I'm here making this video. That's not my mindset. And then I believe in strength in numbers. I believe in cooperation. I believe in coordination. But the general attitude and mindset in Zimbabwean is not like that. Just imagine a country like the countries I've mentioned adopting the general mindset of the Zimbabwean. Those countries will collapse in a few days. Yeah? Because mindset, just simply mafungiro evan. Which brings me to another thing. Those who are in Zimbabwe, and people in Zimbabwe, and I'm pretty sure anyone who is in the diaspora can relate to this. People in Zimbabwe, if there are any people in Zimbabwe who happen to stumble upon this video and listen to me rambling here, attitude ne mindset yekufunga kuti mari inotanwa pamiti kana munhu angobuda muZimbabwe. No. Just because I have left Zimbabwe, I have gone to some first world country, doesn't mean I am picking money off of trees. Yeah? Money has to be worked for. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you want money, you have to work. And this is why I said before, educate yourself about money. What is money? Have you ever sat down and actually asked that simple question? Because right now I asked, and I've done this in many videos prior. I'm doing it again now specifically for the diasporan community wanting to move back to Zimbabwe. You should sit down and ask yourself, one question, one simple question, which sounds like it warrants a simple enough answer. What is money? What is money? Yeah. If you come up with an answer that convinces you in your own mind, but no, I think now I really understand. I did. I sat down. I asked that question. This thing. What is it really? And I'm going to post other videos discussing a lot. Like I said, I'm going to discuss a lot about money because I'm passionate about money. And it would be very weird if someone came and said, they don't care about money. You can say that, but like in reality, you have to care about money to some extent. And when I say I'm passionate about money, it's not like I'm some crazy money hungry person. I'm just passionate about money as a thing, as what it is, you know. Like the same way I can say that I'm passionate about agriculture. I'm very passionate about agriculture. Agriculture also bringing me to my other point I want to bring up in this video. What to do when you go to Zimbabwe? Like I said, the first thing you have to do is educate yourself. If you decide, all right, Nini, I want to do farming, educate yourself. How educated are you in farming? Yeah? I am passionate about agriculture because it has been a passion of mine ever since I was a child. I used to grow a garden from my teenage years, selling veggies to my community in the ghetto, and it so happened that I got an opportunity to come and study agriculture here in the diaspora. So I'm more vested in that subject of agriculture. Yeah, and I'm passionate about it. It's something that actually comes from deep within me. No, this is something I'm really passionate about. And another recurring theme is everyone wants to do farming. Have you asked yourself why you want to do farming? Yeah, it's quite understandable why it would appear as the most lucrative pathway to take. Farming done right is a very profitable and rewarding venture if done right. Yeah, but then again, we can't all come from the diaspora and go back to Zimbabwe and do farming. That is why I said you should ask yourself what you want to do. Educate yourself as much as you can about that thing you want to do before you do the thing. And another point I want to raise is let's not lack imagination. I feel like this is my own opinion. I feel like Zimbabweans in general, we've got a very huge lack of imagination. What do I mean by that? Everyone wants to do that thing. Everyone wants to do that thing that is looking successful. The hype. We chase the hype. We chase the craze. Maprela vanoti marine maprela ndakuda kutonoita maprela for me. If you educate yourself about money, you know a simple thing about supply and demand. Maprela acho akawanda supermarket, price yemaprela ichadona, which means someone is going to have to experience a loss. Yeah. So let's not lack imagination. Let's imagine a different sort of country. Let's imagine a different sort of lifestyle. Let's not go with the mindset Zimbabwe and maintain that, because if we maintain the life in Zimbabwe one, that is going to affect even the business decisions you make. Imagine something different. Yeah, imagine something different. Alright, right now pane crazy emabrela, saka inini ndoita sei chiri chekuti because ndikapindira mabrela, most likely going to experience losses. The market is going to be flooded with these things. let's use our imagination. I've often said value addition. You find a situation where people end up tossing produce because there's way too much of it on the market, whereas that should not be happening. Let's think outside the box. Let's think, okay, instead of doing A, let me go for B. Instead of doing B because A and B is so flooded now, let me go for C. Let's think outside the box. And another thing I want to urge people is, if you have a specific profession, yeah, that you already work in the diaspora, say you are in the healthcare sort of profession, yeah, because number one thing that I've seen, that I've noticed, is a lot of people are deterred to move back to Zimbabwe, especially by my wife or my husband are kuramba kudzokera ku Zimbabwe, asinini anguda kurasho kudzokera. I've seen with it, the number one thing that deters people from wanting to go back is healthcare. So if you are in healthcare, why don't you try to focus on what's the word? Focus on investing your hard-earned money in something that focuses on healthcare. Yeah, let's change the narrative. Let's change the general Zimbabwe narrative of things are tough, things are not functional. Because what I believe is to make money, you simply have to find a problem and find a solution to that problem. Yeah, if you can come up with a good solution to a problem ailing people, people will pay you for it. And what other place in the world has more problems than Zimbabwe? Yeah? There are so many problems in Zimbabwe to solve, which brings me back to that point here. It's a myth which kana une mari in Zimbabwe, it's easy to make more money. Yeah, it's not easy, but it's simple. It's very simple. Kana une mari, it's very simple for you to make more money. Why? Because there is a plethora of problems in Zimbabwe.